Hey guys, this is Brendan Mejia from Power Rangers Dino Charge.
This is Jack Guzman. I play Danny Delgado as the Black Ranger on Wild Ford.
Hey, it's Mike Chen. This is the Gold Power Ranger from Power Rangers RPM.
And this is Steve Cardenas, a.k.a. Rocky the Red Power Ranger from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
My name is Peter Sidarso. I play Preston, the Blue Ninja Steel Ranger, and Marvin, the Red Hyperforce Ranger.
Hey guys, this is Tracy Lynn Cruz.
Do you like dancing and do you like Power Rangers? Well, make sure to come to Morphicon 2018 to the
Cardenas,
Angel Grove
a.k.a.
High
Rocky
School
the Red
Prom.
Power Ranger from Mighty Morphin Power
I'm
Rangers.
looking forward to seeing you guys at the Angel Grove High School Prom Party hosted by that # show. Looking forward to seeing you guys there. Come out and have some fun.
And do you like Power
Peace.
Rangers?
Come join me at the Angel Grove Prom at PMC 2018. I've never been to a prom because in New Zealand we don't have prom. So join me. It's going to be my first. Crown me, prom king. No, I'm kidding. Don't do that.
And I need you guys to make sure you join me at the Angel Grove Senior Prom at Power Morphicon this year.
And I want to see you at the # show's Angel Grove Prom at Power Morphicon.
I want to welcome you to the Power Morphicon Angel Grove High School Prom. I'm looking forward to seeing you all. It's going to be fabulous. Dress up, and we'll see you then.
See you at the # show's Angel Grove Prom at Power Morphicon.
I want to welcome you to the Power Morphicon Angel Grove High School Prom. I'm looking forward to seeing you all. It's going to be fabulous. Dress up, and we'll see you then.
See you at the #.
Hello!
Can they hear us? Can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
Welcome!
Double audio. Echo. Echo. We got an echo.
Echo. Hold on. It might be the thing playing in the
Oh,
background.
hey, okay. I think we're good.
Echo,
Are we
echo,
K,
echo,
K,
echo, echo,
K?
echo.
How much echoing? Are we good now? Hi, everyone. Everyone.
Hello! Good?
Welcome to Henshin Hangout. As we see, we have brought props today.
Hey, Justin brought some toys.
Yeah.
This needs to stay.
Yeah.
It's on loan. It's on loan.
Actually, it's kind of fitting. I think you would be a Pato Ranger.
I would not, actually.
You would not?
Which makes this really fun. Because, to be honest, I would be Lupinranger 100%
Yeah.
and steal this. That's what I want to do with this at the end of today. I mean, what?
I'm keeping my eyes literally right here.
Well,
hey, Jezzer. Hey, guys. Let's go around the table. I'm Justin. With me on this episode is
Paula Gaetos, founder of the Tokusatsu Network, or the Tokunet.
And Jezzer! The only Jezzer you'll ever know.
That's true. You are literally the only Jezzer I've ever met.
So let's do some housekeeping stuff.
Yes, go for it.
First off, we have that TeePublic store. The TeePublic store is a cool store where you can get your geek merchandise. Look at all those shirts you got. They got the
Nice.
Saved by the Bell Power Ranger shirt. You got that Darth Vader thing. And they got hoodies. They got sweaters. They got tank tops. They even got baby onesies. Which is pretty cool, yeah.
That's awesome.
Cute.
So if you guys
TeePublic's
have
so
some
good.
babies on the way, you guys could give them some geek gear and get them prepared for their lives going forward as a geek, if they were going Also,
want to.
the sale is over, so the shirts are all $20 now, but they do have sales very frequently, so if you guys keep checking out the website, I'm sure you guys can find a deal.
Yes.
We also have the THS Hashtaggers page, which is our Facebook page where you guys can post anything that you guys find interesting. You guys can collaborate with each other on Power Morphicon hotels. You know, you guys could coordinate on sharing a room together. You guys could share funny videos you think that we'd like or that the other hashtaggers would like. And also you could just continue the conversation from the chat room to Facebook.
Yep.
And it's fun. I mean, I think we're all on
We're
there.
all on it.
We're all
So
on
there, yeah.
last week I was here and I was talking about J-dramas and I was talking about all the different things that, you know, that J-drama is basically, or tokusatsu, like what we're going to talk about today is basically J-drama for kids. So if you wanted to talk to me more about that, you could also hit me up. In addition to Twitter, we have that
THS
hashtagger. So you can totally ask me there if Facebook is more your jam.
Yeah, if you could talk to her about tonkatsu and stuff like that.
Y'all.
We also have that super chat button where if the chat goes pretty fast. So if you guys want your message to be highlighted and for us to read it immediately, hit that super chat button. Helps support the show, helps keep the lights on, and it's just a great button for you to press. So if you guys want to press it, go ahead. So today we're talking about what?
We're talking about, of course, episode 9 or 10?
10.
10. No, 9. Episode 9 of Lupinranger.
It's so weird.
I know.
It's so weird.
We're 2 months in, pretty much.
Yeah, because the way, again, like the way Superhero Time, which is basically the programming block that airs Super Sentai and Kamen Rider, it's been around for about a good chunk of decade now. Yeah. And just quick flashback, the reason why it's called Superhero Time is that, you know, the word superhero is trademarked by the big two, DC and Marvel. They're able to use the word superhero. The third company that owns that is Toei.
Oh, actually didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's why we get the Superhero Time block, which is Super Sentai and Kamen Rider. That's why it gets to be called that. That's why, you know, Japan and all their Henshin heroes get to
cue that NBC logo.
Well, when you spend the money to make sure you have the rights, you might as well just plaster that on all your product.
And I could go on about like the connection between Marvel and Toei in terms of like Kamen Rider and Super Sentai and Spider-Man.
Yes.
So again, if you're part of that Facebook group, let me know if you want to know more stuff about that.
Do we have any news coming from Super Sentai? Or,
the biggest thing when it comes to Super Sentai now, the biggest news that came out is that there's the new special movie that's come out. There's the summer movies that's coming out, and this is called. This is going to be a tie-in web-only series that's called Hero Mama League, and it's basically one of the best best news I heard.
So the Super Sentai counterparts are SPD, Mystic Force, and Ninja Storm.
Yeah.
Exactly, and so in Super Sentai, it's Decker Ranger, Magi Ranger,
and Hurricaneger.
That's awesome.
This is it's an interesting trio because basically you have Nao Nagasawa, who's kind of, I call her kind of mildly the queen of Toku.
Yeah, 100%.
She shows up in practically almost anything. Who is she? She's a Hurricane Blue.
Okay.
Yeah, and she shows up. She does like a lot of tokusatsu actors or just actors who get their start in tokusatsu. A lot of them tend to go back and, you know, just fill different roles. Like, and we're going to talk about later, Sawa, the woman who plays Sawa, has been in other Ultraman series. Yep. She's made cameos in other Kamen Rider series and things like that. So,
that's awesome.
Hurricane Blue, actor, she shows up in a lot of tokusatsu. A lot of them are individual movie tie-ins, like, or she plays actual Hurricane Blue, coming back, like in Gokaiger and things like that. So this, the Hero Mama League, and it's going to be a web-only special for Japanese fans who are part of the Toei Tokusatsu fan club. It's web-only. They are going to think about doing another sequel, but they're not calling it a spin-off. They're not going to make this a whole series, which is kind of sad because I really want it. Like, as you know, I'm not a mom, and I don't want to be a mom, but these are, you know, I love being able to see grown-up women still be heroes. And you're talking about 3 women who are actually mothers, like in real life. The actresses all have kids of their own, so
and that's also
lovely.
And there's another thing too about this, like if you in fact watched these shows when they came out, this now makes you feel old. Because like, oh cool, all 3 of them are moms, and they're not little toddlers. They're like kids, like proper children. So like, cool, awesome.
Well, all 3 of them have gone through what's, like I've mentioned before, there's a direct-to-video or DVD or Blu-ray that's called V-Cinema, and that happens quite often in tokusatsu. All 3 of them have had a 10 years later, you know, reunion V-Cinema.
Wait,
Magi Ranger hasn't.
That's right. Like I don't think Maji's the only one who hasn't.
But Hurricaneger and Decker Ranger definitely have. So, you know, again, and they had a lot of callbacks when it comes to Gokaiger.
Yeah, they both came back for Gokaiger.
Yeah.
So look forward to that. Is this actually gonna drop on Mother's Day?
Yeah, it's gonna be around Mother's Day.
Wait,
May 13th, which is Mother's Day in Japan.
Yeah.
So it's appropriate, and it's a tie-in to the summer movie for Q Ranger.
Of course it is.
Yeah, because it's gonna be a tie-in. So
did the Q Ranger movies come out already?
Not yet.
No, it happens every summer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you'll get to see them again.
How about the one?
There usually used to be one in spring, but that's what they said that they're
there
going to
was one with the
discontinue.
three-headed dog Zord.
That
was that last year's movie?
Yeah, where Commander died.
That was probably the movie from last year when they were doing their spring or summer movie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that yet.
I have to remember.
I saw the.
There's so much product.
I saw the Stinger and Champ one.
Oh yeah, that's a V Cinema.
Yes.
That's a V Cinema.
That looked great.
Yeah, but the nice thing about V Cinemas, and I do highly recommend you guys watch it, especially because Bill will definitely have one.
Yes.
Pato, Lupin will definitely have one. In general, there's just a pattern. Especially when you have so many. Kyuranger kind of loaned itself to V Cinema just because there were so many.
Yeah.
That's literally why
it was such a big deal.
Yeah.
And if you are a fan of the Tokusatsu Network, you might see a cameo from one of our guys. He's a well-known extra in a lot of Tokusatsu shows. It's basically look for the white British guy that gets beaten up all the time.
Oh, I know who you're. Because I did see the Stinger movie and went, there he is.
Yeah, he's right there.
So
yeah.
are these movies, are they canon?
Yes, more or less, yes. Well, that's why when you see the Gear Bros and Kamen Rider Build, like the way that they tie in the movies, they'll also tie in the V Cinema like that as well.
Yeah.
So there might be little bits here and there. Either they'll show it up in flashbacks or things like that.
Can I catch that on Kiss Asian?
I'm sure there are ways to watch it.
There are ways to watch it.
There are ways to watch it. To watch that. All right. Before we go into actually talking about episode 9 of Lupinranger, who's in the chat?
Yeah, I saw Layla Nolan, who
Hello.
is like a regular, and I love you. Hi.
We have Ryan, Thomas, Layla, L-Y,
Lie Pete. Boy Blue. You're my boy Blue.
Hey. Daviat. Timmy Trimmer. I was going to say Timmy Turner. Timmy Trimmer. Timmy Turner. And Boy Blue. Welcome to Henshin Hangout.
Bring your questions in, please. If you got anything you want to talk about specifically, we'll look on it and we'll bring it up. Let's make this discussion fun and lively. Okay, episode 9, Lupinranger versus Patranger. Let's start. Oh, hey, Edward Sanchez. He just jumped in right now. All right, that's it. I'm not gonna say hi to anyone. Okay, Shadow, sure. All right, that's it though. I'm just kidding. Keep bringing them. Keep coming. Let's go off. How do you feel about this episode? Off the top of your head.
Off the top of my head, one of the things that I really, really loved about it is more than, say, there's 2 things that really stood out for me. One is I love the fact that they're using non-Japanese characters that are not stereotypical, like, I can't speak Japanese, I don't know what you're talking about, and have, it's not 100% part of their identity. Like the fact that, again, Chief is African American. It's fantastic. She is French, and that's fantastic. And they're all like, they're not.
Emma Golding.
Emma Golding. Which, to be fair, sounds Italian, but I'm not splitting hairs.
I remember hearing the name and went, that's not
French.
French whatsoever.
I took French for 2 years. I think I could. I love that. I love that they're doing that now because past Super Sentai, who has used non-Japanese actors, and they tend to be very stereotypical.
Shinken Brown?
Shinken Brown is one of them.
Yeah. I love Ramirez in Kyoryuger, but even then, that's sort of like a,
It's very stereotypical.
Yeah. Because I also know that Dr. Robert Baldwin can speak Japanese very fluently.
Yeah. He was one of our first interviews at Tokunet. And
I was going to say that because I saw his interviews on your guys' site and went like, oh, he can speak Japanese just fine.
He's Canadian. And so it's like... the nicest man in the world. Yeah. And so it's really nice being able to see that evolution, so to speak. The second thing that I really loved about it is it finally hit me that who the action director is, and it's not hitting me right now, so I'm gonna look it up.
Okay.
But basically, if you know who the usual suit actor is for most of Super Sentai. He retired in 2011. I can't believe, I'm going to look it up right now.
Sure.
While
you're looking it up, let me have...
go ahead.
Jezzer, what are your thoughts on episode 9?
I like the whole, what's the Lupin Red's name?
Keiichiro.
Keiichiro.
Yeah.
I like that they gave him they gave us a little more background between his relationship with his brother.
Oh, no. So you're, okay, no, not Lupin Red then. Kairi.
Kairi,
yeah. I gave you Pat Ichigo. So you're talking Kyrie. There you go. That's the one. I apologize.
Yeah.
So before, don't correct me. I got that. I fixed.
Yeah, they gave the backstory because earlier in the season they pretty much just they were just fighting a little bit. And he was kind of, but there's not much to go off of what the reason was behind that. Yeah. So we learned now that his older brother was a basketball star at his school. And so his main goal was to kind of live up to or get out of his brother's shadow in a way, because his brother was like a really good basketball star, and he wanted to be just like his brother, which is a common thing. That's an element I really related to. My brother is about a good 10 years older than me.
You're the youngest.
I am the youngest of three. And so my brother, also funny enough, my brother was actually the varsity captain of his high school basketball team. So maybe this episode hit me a little harder. There you go. I mean, thank you. And and that was the thing, is like, what's kind of cool about that relationship is that it's a case where I feel like Kyrie's struggling feelings of what happened to his relationship with his brother is like the fact that he's got this sort of big chip on his shoulder, because that his last kind of words are just angry. Yeah. And that he kind of brought this really sad, like, frustration over himself, and he's mad at, the reality is he's more mad at himself than his brother, because he's comparing himself to his brother, which that's sort of the thing, being the younger brother. Yeah. Because
you always want to live up to their expectations, or you always want to match them in a way.
And what's interesting is the fact that, like, I can even tell that even his brother is being really supportive, and he was trying to be very, like, hey,
and understanding why he's so angry.
Yeah, but he's so frustrated, but Kyrie's so frustrated himself that he doesn't see that, and that makes sense for a guy who's like 18, 19 years old. Yeah.
And it just like adds on to his feeling of not being enough. Yeah. And not by comparison. It's not being enough by comparison.
It's the nice bit of humanity that I needed for Lupin Red to feel a little bit more rounded. I was really enjoying the character.
I mean, the Lupinrangers, I really like them. Yeah. They so far they have a lot more story than.
Well, they literally have the tragic background, whereas we don't see that yet with the Patrangers.
Yeah. But like, tragic background like can lead up to more like intense storytelling. But this is another one of those cases where it's like I do feel like they're earning it, especially because they're kind of the thieves with like a sad story in their background. They're also really hitting hard, and I guess I've always assumed that their loved ones died. Yeah. But they're hitting hard recently that they're more implying that they're missing. Yeah. Which is, I guess, a new angle that I was, my brain's like, they died. Yeah. The way we see them, they're frozen in ice and then they shatter. They're actually hitting harder that, no, they're missing. Like, they're, or more, like, even Lupin Blue's, like, fiance, she left him.
Yeah. To the general world, they're missing.
Yeah, because there's no evidence of, like, no blood, no body.
Well, what I also like to think, because Super Sentai, by comparison to Kamen Rider, Kamen Rider tends to be, like, just, if you're into shonen anime or young boys anime, so think Naruto, think One Piece, think, My Hero Academia, stuff like that. So that tends to skew a little more like hard, like I guess hard, like Kamen Rider suffering. But whereas Super Sentai tends to be a lot more like teamwork and friendship and stuff like that. So when you're dealing with topics like death or trying to avenge a death, sometimes it's when it comes to Super Sentai, as opposed to Kamen Rider, not all deaths are deaths, period. So when they show like, oh, the reason why they're doing this is because they died, and they're basically trying to bring them back to life by collecting Lupin collection, all of it, which is the biggest thing with the end of this episode, and the weight of they really have to collect it all.
Every single
piece. So all us like collectors, you really have to collect it all, or else the people you love won't come back.
One of the big things about this episode is the fact that the French jewelry designer Emma Godin apparently has a Lupin collection. And what's interesting about this time is that this is one of the first times where they realize, like, oh, it's not a gangler. We have to get this off of a person.
Yeah. So this actually, and it was a piece that was missing even before the whole I guess, their whole mission to bring them all back.
Yeah, so it's actually this kind of neat idea. It's like, this person, like, they actually have to straight up steal something from somebody.
Like, literally have to steal something.
Yeah.
And feel bad about it. Because, I mean, if you're taking it from a gangler, it's like, whatever.
Yeah, no, that's a monster who's destroying things. It's totally fine.
Well, maybe I missed it. The gangler that they went up against, did they show what was it?
They did not, which I want to bring that point up a little bit later. Let's put a pin on that. So, no. But yes, so this time out, they have to try to find a way to, steal something from an actual person. Thankfully, that gangler you just talked about did attack her, so they have to find a gangler anyway.
How convenient!
How convenient! Woo! So, sorry about that. Why don't you take the sword again?
I have very bad depth perception, so
you have that to block me. So
I do.
There you go. It's even now.
I've never seen them use this at all.
Well, they definitely
use the sword part, obviously. I don't think they've ever used the claw part.
They've never used the claw part.
Which we'll find out. We're only in episode 9. So.
Yeah, they got so many more.
They have so much time.
So much time. So many new robots and ships.
Let me take the
necklace off. Wait, no. I'm wearing
you want to try drinking? You want to use it to pick up your cup?
Good,
smart. That's a smart answer. Okay, so yeah, Emma Goldini gets attacked by a gangler, and that's where Kairi sort of like swoops in, pretends to be a security guard.
By stealing the security guard's outfit, and it's the classic trope.
And they put him in that position that
Pat Ichigo?
Was, yeah. They like that position. I don't know.
It's a classic Japanese comedy trope. It happens all the time.
Yeah,
especially when you're like stealing clothes off someone who's unconscious.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's not like
why that one.
I always crack up that the detail that's always like, let's go back to this joke is his underwear has hearts. Like that's
I don't understand the fascination of just pattern underwear jokes in Japan.
I feel that represents like underneath this person's clothing.
You know what? I could definitely get very like I said, I'm going to grad school. Yeah, I could like I've seen PhDs written on less.
So anyway, Kairi basically grabs Emma Goldini and basically is like, "Oh, I'm here to help you," as the rest of the guys are fighting the gangler off. So basically, right now, like Kairi has to kind of create a trust with her. And it's interesting the fact that like at first he's just very okay, I'll just buy her off. Pretty simple.
I got paper, like literally.
So where do you get that checkbook?
I'm assuming Kogure has like a never-ending bank account that they can keep going to.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. So like, how else are they maintaining
those outfits?
And the restaurant, and the food in the restaurant, and like you said, the outfits. So see that? Remember in the first episode, the box of like 5 different masks. We're not even talking about the Lupin mask. So they have to buy those and design them. So I'm sure it's like they have a blank check that's never ending.
Yep.
You know.
Tries to buy her off.
But what's interesting is the fact that like Emma believes that like she thinks that his sister hired this kid to
buy the necklace
because it's then she's got a kind of a weird family drama with her and her older sister.
But I like that that's how they connect.
Yeah.
And it allows not only for her storyline to shine. That's not solely focused on like her being othered in any way.
Yeah.
But her being able to connect with Kairi that way and allowing Kairi to also kind of grow like just as a person.
Right.
Being able to recognize that empathy with another person, just going, hey, I went through something similar. Your sister is still alive, so go call her.
Yeah.
You don't have to steal crap for to wish they would come back to life and feel responsible. Give her a call.
And I think that's how he got her trust because she kind of at one scene she was off to the side or like hiding behind a wall and she was hearing his story a little.
Yeah.
Well, also like if you fast forward just a little bit when what's his name again? The general who keeps popping up.
Mr.
See, the thing with this...
you guys know that, right?
I know.
Go ahead and write in the chat.
The thing with this,
correct us there.
With this series versus Kyuranger, the names are a lot harder to remember versus how they did in Kyuranger.
I mean, I think just because they don't get repeated as often as because Kyurangers has a big cast, just period.
Yeah.
Whereas Lupin is still a big cast. There's still 6 Rangers, but the monster of the week, it's they don't get repeated as often.
Yeah.
So it kind of.
And they this is very much also a plot-oriented show too.
Yeah.
Even though there's a lot of good character stuff, there's a very good amount of like huge plot-centric stuff. So we don't get a lot of chance to really learn everything. I'm finally getting Keiichiro's name in my brain a little more than before. I just said the bad Ichigo. That's it. That's all I said for a long time.
The bad strawberry?
Yeah. See, no. That's not the correct one.
No. Anyways, so Destra.
That's it.
Oh my
Continue.
God. So when Destra shows up to get the necklace after Kairi and Emmy had their heart-to-heart talk about just call your mom. It's kind of like the call your mom just once in a while. It's not a bad thing. So after this, call your parents, tell them you love them. If you have a good relationship with them.
If you get any family rivalry of any fashion, fix it.
Yeah, basically.
Please.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, that's the moral of this episode.
Yeah.
Of, I guess, this episode and Lupin versus Pato. And so yeah, even like when she is in that corner trap behind the wall, like Destra makes an attack. He gets, trapped behind behind a wall in the building. So they have a moment to like breathe for a second. She's like, this necklace is not worth dying for.
Right.
And so have it, take it. I don't care. But I like being able to. She recognizes that Kairi's whole thing is talk to your sister before it's too late to talk to your sister. And having that literal near-death experience more than once, going, yeah, it's gonna be too late to talk to my sister if I hang on to this stupid thing.
Yeah.
She's probably thinking, I should have worn this today.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's I like being able to see an episode that holds its own so tightly.
Agreed. That's the other cool thing about this episode, too, is while there's also this really good storyline between Kairi and Emma, Emmy, is that they also split. The rest of the gang are also off doing their own thing. Right now, the Patrangers have
Lupin Blue and Lupin Yellow.
Lupin Blue and Lupin Yellow have decided, like, okay, we'll get the collection from the Gangler ourselves. You take care of this, and it kind of makes sense from Lupin Blue's perspective. It's like, we can get two right now.
Yeah,
you got to keep, I guess, essentially in a crime way, like working her to get what we want from her, but we can totally handle getting the Gangler's Lupin collection.
Yeah, that's like 9 to 5.
Yeah. So, but with the Patrangers, they've decided, like, okay,
let's solve a crime and protect someone.
Yeah. So their deal right now is like, okay, so as far as everyone knows, there's this big event that's going to have this jewelry. I guess the jewelry that she's, Emmy is wearing. So I guess she's going to decide to like let that display in the museum. So like, okay, cool. We'll just say it's there at the gallery. We'll say it's there.
I work in museums.
Fair. We'll say it's in the gallery. And just pretend like everything's cool.
It's very crime bait. Anybody who's into like super crime shows.
Yeah, absolutely. And so they'll just go along with the plan. And obviously the Gangler took the bait.
Yeah.
And boom, big old fight. And they bring back that delightful drone footage again.
It's so good. Okay, so this is kind of like thankfully I finally remembered who Hirofumi Fukuzawa.
The fight choreographer?
Yes. So he was in Japan World Heroes last year.
Yes.
Last year in August, he was one of the special tokusatsu guests. We were able to interview him over at Tokunet. So if you want to see that interview, go to the Tokunet on YouTube and watch that interview. But he is basically known as, like, if there's a suit actor that's called Mr. Kamen Rider. I would call him Mr. Red Ranger because he has been the Red Ranger main suit actor for quite some time. Any like really awesome Red Ranger that you love, Deka, for example, like he's the guy in the suit.
He was also Gokai Red.
He was Gokai Red as well. But after he retired, after Gokaigers in 2011, he became the main action director for Super Sentai. And what I've noticed a lot since he took the helm is that Super Sentai, their fight sequences have looked a lot more like Kamen Rider in that they're using a lot more building fights. They're using a lot more enclosed spaces. And using a lot more of the drone, fight choreography, and it's a lot more dynamic. People are literally jumping around. Like one of the things, as problematic as Ninja is.
That's your favorite, right?
Yeah,
I think you're.
Favorite.
No. You're saying Shinkenger wrong. I'm just kidding. It's actually Gokaiger, but Shinkenger's really close.
Yeah, Shinkenger's really good. Which is why I was so disappointed in Ninja. Anyway, that's another show.
It's a whole other talk.
It's a whole other show.
Anyway.
But one of the things I really love about Ninja was just how dynamic this action choreography is,
Yeah.
and it's, for me, it's because Fukuzawa is behind
Yeah.
behind all that. That's his vision. So being able to see that really awesome drone sequence where it's not just, you know, it's seeing a fight in one big stage, but in 3 different parts.
Right.
And it's like, and you see it, you know, and being able to balance between the fights between Lupin versus Pat, basically yellow versus pink, blue versus green, them versus the Gangler. Like, it's seeing it in that part, and I'm just like, Fukuzawa.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's kind of the cool.
It's amazing.
And that's like old school. That's like the one thing that like all Sentai shows are really good about, because like, when you start from like the very first show, Go Ranger, and the big
1970s. 79.
Yeah. The big reveal. I think you're pretty close.
74 to 79. Help me, internet.
Anyway, the cool thing is like when you watch like the first shows, like that was the first thing they started figuring out is one long take to show off each member fighting. Even if they're in different, even if they're like in different parts of the battlefield. That's the cool thing with like, if you watch an old fight scene in Go Ranger, you can see, okay, we're starting on a balcony here with one of them. Zoom out a little bit to the lower balcony, you see another one fighting. Then zoom out again to see another lower level, to see 2 of them fighting. Then pan to the left to see another one fighting on the ground.
And it's just one long take.
One long take. And they've gotten, that's become...
Oh, good.
Yeah, and that's like the Sentai staple from the old day. And so it's cool that here with the drone, like that's continuing tradition in a new dynamic way.
Yeah.
I would love to see B-roll of the drone, like just someone shooting the drone while we're seeing how the drone is being controlled in these fight scenes. Because I'm sitting there going like, you have to jump around a thing with tiny propellers.
Yeah.
These are not...
Like, how, I just want to see like the distance of how that's made.
Yeah.
And like I said, like it's really great being able to say that Fukuzawa is now the action director since he retired from suit acting, because he was a suit actor for so long.
He knows what...
Exactly. So he's seeing it there. 75, thank you. Go Ninja, starting 75.
Thank you, Lana.
See, I was right between 74 and 79.
Yeah.
I was one. I was one off. But it's being able to, that's what I really like about being a fan of the newer Sentai and just knowing about its history behind it, because you get to see those comparisons and you can see all the things that Fukuzawa had like done himself. And like I said, since I've noticed like Tokyuger and Ninja and Kyuranger and now Lupin versus Fat, they're using less of some of the sets that they're used to using. So a lot of those canyon shots and stuff like that, and they're really focusing a lot on like the Go Busters too, like the closed enclosed space, like, and just being able to have that one shot, like that elevator fight in this episode. And with like both the top and the down shot of just that one, like of Lupin Red just holding like the wind. Yeah.
Love the elevator. Love the.
So it's something to look forward to for, because Super Sentai is the counterpart to Power Rangers. Something to look forward to.
Yeah.
If they were to adapt those certain scenes.
Yeah. And what's really great now, like, you know, both the video quality has like caught up to each other. Like that's why I really like Dino Charge a lot. It was seamless. Seamless.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's pretty.
They're starting to work together.
Exactly, and again, Fukuzawa was the action director of Kyoryuger that turned into Dino Charge.
Do you guys watch the Korean adaptations of these?
There's only one. That's like pure Korean adapted.
Dino Charge Brave?
Yeah, Dino Charge Brave. Yeah. Because Kyoryuger was so popular in Korea. That's the only one that's like a direct Korean adaptation. And the cool thing about that is they also used, number one, it's Sakamoto that's directing.
Right. So it looks like.
So it looks exactly like what, you know, Kyoryuger used to be, because Sakamoto.
And they shot a lot of it in Japan too.
Yeah, and with the Japanese team.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, you know, again, there's that seamless. I haven't finished it yet.
But you like it.
But I do like it. And
it's enjoyable.
And I'm used to, it's a little campier, but again, if you're used to, if you're a K-pop fan.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting way of looking at that one. Also, they're shorter, like 10 episodes, 10 minutes in.
10 minutes in.
So it's like,
which is pretty typical for Korean entertainment, because a lot of it is web-based.
Yeah. And the funny thing about watching these 10-minute shorts is that it's like kind of watching Sentai condensed in 10 minutes. It's like, how much can you tell literally the same story with half the time?
Which makes me think of like, you know, Mama Heroes that's coming out. It's if you are part of the Toei's Tokusatsu fan club in Japan, you get all these web exclusives. So being able to learn how to translate that as well with and V Cinema, and it's storytelling that you can do that you're not confined with, you know, children time slot they have to be appropriate for.
So I saw that they're gonna start adapting Q Ranger next.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they are gonna do a. Well, I think is that just simply like the Korean dub, and they just retitle it as.
Oh, yeah, and they're dubbed Power Rangers in Korea, but it's their original.
It's
Japanese.
the same show.
Power Rangers. They said Galaxy Force.
Galaxy Force.
Pirate Force is the name of Go Kaiger.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Power Rangers Galaxy Pirate Force. Nice. They're simply just a thing force. That's what they do in Korea. It's the same show.
Which is actually really funny, because when I was in Tacoma last year, I was at this like the largest bookstore in Tacoma, and it was just me and one of my other Team Tokunet members, and we were looking around this bookstore, and I looked up at like the Japanese section of like, and this used bookstore is like a typical used bookstore, like used books thrown around like from floor to ceiling. Right. And in that corner, I'm all like, why does that look familiar? I pull it out. It's the Korean language Power Rangers Wild Force picture book. That's part also graphic novel. It was like his own standalone series. That's funny. But it was what was Wild Force?
Gal Ranger.
Yeah, it was Gal Ranger show. But it was, the Korean is Power Rangers Wild Force. Yeah. And I'm like, how did I get this?
You bought it though.
Like, I have it. You bought it. That is just destiny. Yeah. Like, of course, I'm going to go to the largest bookstore in Tacoma, Washington. With my Team Tokunet members. Yeah. And this is the thing that we find. That's like, awesome. This is the best.
Now, we are introduced to a couple new vehicles.
Yay.
New toys.
Scissors!
What is your
I can't wait for Paper and Rock!
Jezzer, what's your thoughts on the new jets?
I don't know, man.
What does that have to see? What's up?
I mean, it's a little different, but they all seem kind of the same. But I mean, like, I voiced my dislike of interchangeable parts. And I feel like
for mechs.
Yeah, for mechs.
Yeah.
I like interchangeable parts.
But so there's interchangeable parts, and then there's just piling on, making the Zord even more massive.
I will say that for Shinkanter, you failed on that one.
As much as I love that show, I
love that show, but man, that final
Shinkenger,
their final Zord. You want to talk pile on to each other like trademark hot mess.
Yeah.
Time
that thing looked like it needed to be pushed with a dolly.
That's like, there's like a giant like ninja man behind it, just
Okay. You guys are at the last Power Morphicon, right?
Yeah.
So me and my friend competed in the contest. There's one little kid that competed in the kid section where she was the I think it was a crab from Ninja, or not from Samurai. Yeah. And like all the pieces rotated. The faces rotated, and like the dad had made it. I was like, oh my god, this is the coolest. This is the coolest cosplay ever. Like everything was interchangeable and moving.
Yeah.
And
I want to be friends with this family.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then they had her connect to another Zord. I was like, what the hell is going on?
Oh my god. See, this is kind of why I'm glad that somebody else has taken the reins to Tokunet, and I love Nicole. She's doing an amazing job. Dare I say better than I ever could.
Are you watching this, Nicole? Get that recorded. She just said it.
No, seriously, I say that without pretense whatsoever. She's amazing. It's just like I get to be able to enjoy now. Yeah. Of just like hanging out.
Yeah, because if not, it's work. It's just
yeah. I mean, after a while, like as fun as this is, sometimes like it's my job to be there.
Right.
But yeah, so I'm glad I might be able to see stuff like that this year.
So with the scissor, we haven't seen it connected to any
No,
robot.
we haven't. But I'm seriously waiting until they're gonna show up with rock and paper.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be really happy.
I mean, the last one that we got was the helicopter one. Where it was the propeller.
Yeah.
This one,
it'll be another arm.
It's gonna be another arm.
It's gonna be another arm.
I mean, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. It's one of those things I will say that like I feel like that's again like Bandai saying we want these kind of toys to show up in the show, and so in this one, this case is like, okay, so this is a robot playing with scissors. What do you got story wise? And I'm just imagining the writers in the show went, it's a pendant, and this part of me is like going like, so this
jewelry has been made of like weirder things.
Fair enough, but this part of me is like Emma's like Emmy's like grandfather like had this one. Your grandfather had a.
And
bomber.
She's French.
Your French grandfather had
a
bomber.
Arsene Lumen.
Yep.
I'm saying.
Wait,
I'm saying. That's a theory.
Putting that, that's
It's also hair in my face.
There's a big thing that does happen at the end of this episode, though.
They destroy the...
No. What's his name did? He went hard on that guy.
Yeah, he destroyed...
Keiichiro.
Pat Ichigo blew up the Gangler before they had a chance to grab the Lupin collection.
And there's a lot...
And now I want to take the unpin out. We did not see what his Lupin collection is
Or if there was one.
Or if there was one.
What the thing is, though, with the Ganglers, the way they had it is that if the Ganglers have powers, they have a Lupin collection.
Yeah.
That's kind of... That's a given, but there's like a lot of part of me. What I really liked about that is you get to finally feel that tension between these are two teams with the same intentions,
same overall goal.
Yeah, same intentions, overall goal. But here is the clash.
Yeah,
and there's part of me like I wanted to be mad at Keiichiro, and I'm like, no, but he doesn't know that.
Exactly.
This is where probably in the next episode they're gonna have to like figure out
a conversation.
Yeah, they're not, like have a conversation and figure out what each other's intentions are. I mean, obviously Patranger's intentions are just to uphold the law and keep it, but the Lupinrangers have like this thing that they're doing that they have no idea. They have no idea what it's about. So.
And that's why I really love where they're going with it so far, is that the show's been really good at finding ways to like, how can we create tension? How can we, like create new drama? How do we even answer some questions without feeling like they're running out of steam yet, even though like we're still episode 9. Yeah. But like the idea is like when you do a show about cops versus robbers.
And do it for 50 episodes.
49. Well, 48. We'll see how long this one goes.
The average is like 45 to 50.
Yeah.
Actually.
If you guys were to say how many episodes into the season before they start working together?
20
minimum.
Almost always 20.
Yeah.
Yeah. 20s and the 20s is when team members who are not friends tend to be friends.
That's true. Yeah.
And 30s is when they have to work together. So they learn how to be friends for that 20 to 30, and then 30 to 40 is when plot.
So
we have to work together.
But now, what I'm really excited about the fact what happened here is the idea that they don't know the other person's plans, so henceforth, the Patrangers they're just doing their job.
Yeah.
And they just like, okay, Gangler, blow up, we're good. Whereas Lupin Blue and Lupin Yellow are like, damn it.
And it's devastating.
Yeah, we're screwed.
It's on them too. Or like they they were bombarded by a bunch of...
What I like about it is that they didn't really do anything wrong.
No.
They were just 2 seconds too late.
Yeah.
And that's what's kind of cool about anything that's kind of gone negative towards their way. It's not that they did anything they didn't do a mistake. It's just that it's timing. Even with like what happened in a couple episodes where Tsukasa started catching the idea that maybe the people in the restaurant are the Lupinrangers.
Yeah.
It's not like they did anything really obvious. It's timing, and she's been a good detective and good cop to kind of notice.
I mean, she got promoted to the global police.
So right now, that's what's cool about this is that like, okay, yet again, it's not really their fault. They were short a person. Let's keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's true. But what Lupinrangers have been doing before is utilizing the Patrangers to their advantage, where having the Patrangers kind of handle the brunt of the work as far as like the henchmen and anything, and while they
like what Umika did a couple of episodes ago, that was really good.
Yeah, so that's what they've been doing before.
We didn't have henchmen this time, did we? We didn't have the mooks running around.
Well, the mooks are around a little bit. I think.
Oh, in the building.
Yeah.
So I mean, they didn't. The two of them didn't really utilize them in that way this time.
Yeah.
And they kind of just, because I feel like if Lupin Red was there and he saw that the dude was winding up to get stuff done, he probably would have kind of pushed.
That extra time. And what I like about this as well is it's also the reason why I really love sports anime, because like it's one of those things where like you could honestly do your best and work hard and all these things, but you can still lose.
Yeah.
And how do you deal with that? And I like that the preview for the next episode is basically them learning how to deal with that. It looks like they're finally confront, for lack of a better term, Iceman.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and he was in the
Poncho.
He was the
Poncho Iceman.
The very funny scene in the very beginning of the episode.
Right.
With Keiichiro.
Between and him, where they cross paths.
Yeah.
He's like this. That's kind of weird. Like,
yeah, no, what I like, it's like it's a typical like Japanese detective story. It's like I'm like I have to be careful because this time of year a lot more criminals come out. I have to be more vigilant in my job. Passes by this guy who is a mass murderer for for the most part, and we know that.
Possibly a butler.
I don't know if I'm married to that yet, but definitely mass murderer because we know it's him. He's the guy who froze everyone, and he just goes. Man, this weather also brings out all the weirdos.
Hey, Keiichiro, pay attention!
Context clues!
Anywho.
And that's within the first, 2 minutes.
2 minutes of the show.
And as, the spring, Sakura is, coming down. It's just,
So the tone was very different for this episode. It started off very lighthearted.
Yeah.
And then it ended on a dark note.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which we haven't got in a while.
So, let's move on to Kamen Rider Build. Before we do, we got a newbie to the show, who's in the chat. Halam 899. First time watching.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome.
So see Jared Hodges.
Jared's here. Jaylen's here. Hey y'all.
Yeah, y'all.
Yeah.
What up?
Cool.
Hey guys.
Hi.
Welcome to the YouTubes.
Now on to Kamen Rider.
Okay.
Yeah, Kamen Rider Build. Well, speaking of being able to balance serious storyline with a little bit of humor.
This one was fun.
This one was really fun.
While still adding some huge revelations.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, like I said, we're now in, for sure, the 30s.
Right.
30s is when plot happens.
Yeah.
Because we're winding down to 50.
But this one was really fun. I really liked just the humor with at least with Grease and Banjo.
I needed it.
Oh my god,
I needed it so much.
I had to watch it multiple times to catch all the exchange.
It was moving fast. I don't know if you guys you guys know Japanese, but it was moving. The text was moving fast, and I was just like, wait, what? Hold on. I wasn't really. I needed go
well,
back.
again, it's typical for Japanese comedy. It's very in manzai. It's like a comedy duo. It's a traditional Japanese comedy style, where it's basically two guys. One's kind of an idiot. One's the straight-laced guy. And it's just the idiot's talking.
Who do you think's who?
Banjo's the
idiot. 100%.
Banjo's
he
my
definitely,
favorite.
I love Banjo, but he's straight up the
the
idiot.
the word for it in Japanese is boke. B-O-K-E, I think. And so Banjo definitely holds that. And, Kazumin and
Sawa.
Kiryu? Sento.
Yeah.
Kazumin and Sento both exchange kind of being the straight-laced guy.
Right.
Yeah, so which is really nice. So that dynamic's really fun. And so the fact that they were going back and forth, I'm like, it's a monster!
This was a fun episode.
It really
was just, there's a lot of stuff going on, but they delivered it in a way where you still get to have fun with it.
Oh yeah. Even the first scene is we get this sort of big reveal that the Queen of Mars is currently possessing Venage is taking over the body of Isora,
and then she teleports all of them out of harm.
Out of harm.
Cool.
And right now,
and Stock knows who she is.
Yes. Well, dude, the big key thing the Stock says, damn, she's still alive. I went,
sorry. You know who she is.
So, time out. Do you think Stock is also possessed by somebody?
We'll get to that. We'll get to
it at the end of the episode.
Yeah, but okay, fuck, I'll get to it now.
Yeah,
I was
totally.
He literally there's the big other reveal
at the end of the episode.
At the end of the episode, where basically Isurugi is doing the Gollum thing, and he's don't
doing
make
one side. So what are you doing? It's no, nobody asked you to come.
Yeah.
So I remember actually when I saw that moment, I literally said out loud, "And here's the other shoe," because I was sort of waiting. I wasn't 100% sure that Isurugi was full on a bad guy. I figured there are outs to get him to be, not the villain.
Yeah.
And the biggest out is he was the astronaut that was there. He was the astronaut who first touched the Pandora.
Who just happened to be there.
Yeah, he was the first astronaut who touched the Pandora's box. And they all established that anyone who got hit with the light of the Pandora's box gets this weird
change them in a fundamental way.
Yeah. So the fact that that's been established, that okay, that's your out for Isurugi if you have an out. Yeah. And then here it is when
And to be fair, I was completely okay with him just being that guy.
Sure.
Of just being I am a psycho genius and I just want to see where this happens. I just want to know.
Yeah.
And I'm all right, cool, you do you.
Yeah.
Sorry, the whole world has to burn.
So this was his out. It was the out. This is their sense of redemption for him towards the end.
Yeah.
We'll see whether we'll get that. The big question is, in the beginning of the episode, Vernage as Misora, I guess a couple of things in the beginning, how comedic that beginning is, of Kazumi going, I will worship all of Me-Town's personality no matter what it is.
That's not the point right now.
So like, no. And then like Sawa being like upset that she gets called a child.
By like the youngest member of the group.
But yeah, exactly.
Like that's why Sawa's
who has the soul of like this eternal like queen of another planet, which is kind of amazing.
Another shout out to Misora's actress. Again, she's consistently impressing me on the show.
Yeah.
She's just like the fact that she can do like Misora, Me-Town,
and now
Vernage.
Very dynamic.
Very dynamic actress.
And I love the different reactions to them. Like Sawa's very reverent. Kazumi is still in that super idol.
Yeah.
I'm also really glad that we're seeing the return of Banjo's cross-sea dragon suit.
Yeah.
So the reason that they did that is because he took a blast for her that kind of destroyed his.
I was never happier to see the Slash driver broken after that moment. I was like, because I'm not, the jelly suit was fine, but I love this suit so much more.
The design's a little better.
I like them both. I don't know. I like them both.
I
only persons I
prefer
don't
this one.
I don't like.
I'm not gonna.
The only one I don't like is Grease's suit.
Okay.
It doesn't match the aesthetic as the other two.
I mean, that's what I kind of like about him. To be fair. But like, I also like a lot of things about him. It's really upsetting.
Fair enough.
But my hope later on for Grease is, one, please don't die, and two, if you're gonna, give him an upgraded suit.
Yes,
please.
Like, give him an upgrade. The third rider always gets the short end of the stick of like not getting a lot of upgrades. I'm like thinking, I think the last third rider that I knew had a really good upgrade was technically in Drive. Mach was supposed to be the second rider. By the end of Kamen Rider Drive, he's basically the tertiary one because no one cared about him.
Really, I really hated Mach.
A good way to upgrade him would probably be like maybe the essence of his three friends.
Oh, I know. Ooh. If you want to hurt me the most in like the best way, like incorporate that, either their colors or their powers,
something like maybe
the design,
maybe during Thank you, Nagami. Look at that.
Look at that.
Oh, yeah. We didn't even talk about that little thing that Sento gave.
New fisty punchy abilities.
He's like,
what am I supposed to do with this? It's not like you passed out. That's your fault.
Yeah.
I mean, the funny thing is, like, you're a boxer. You'd figure this out.
Exactly. Exactly. It fits in your fist.
Another good one is for Grease, if like maybe he's at the last like bit of his life and then he's about to die.
Or like super power up.
Yeah, and then like their three like
all of them.
Yeah, like they all help him and give him like this
new power.
New suit.
Oh my god, hurt me more.
Yeah.
Side note, if you're on the chat, I would love for you guys to tell me what was the words on Banjo's t-shirt this week. Because it was really stupid again.
I haven't even been paying attention to that stuff.
I love, like, my favorite is still, like, you look better on social media.
I'm actually actively trying to see if I can buy that shirt.
I can hook you up. I know someone who made the font.
Oh, please.
Well, yeah, we can make the shirt.
We could probably
we could totally
wear
make the
that shirt.
And we could put it up on
TeePublic. Actually, you should probably do that. That would be
Let's talk after.
We'll talk after, and keep an eye on the TeePublic page. Okay, so.
But yeah, but I thought it was like the reactions of all of them were really different.
Yeah.
My favorite is like, I love that the first thing he asked, like, how do you know Japanese? And I'm all like, that's a legitimate question. That's a really good question.
Because it's one of the cases where it's like, oh, a powerful wait, you speak Japanese?
Yeah, and then I love it's all like, Eddie Idiot, who's heard it for 7 years constantly, is gonna learn it. And then Kazumi's like, oh, so you're an idiot. No, you're an idiot.
Yeah. And then Mon's like, what did I do this time? Not you this time.
And he was like, you're not the idiot this time.
There's so much back and forth where it's like, oh, this is great.
This is why, like, again, if you are super into J-dramas or want to get into J-dramas, definitely check, if you're loving Build, see if you can go back and watch Densha Otoko.
Oh, yeah.
Because his dialogue is very much like that. That really good comedic timing, he's
on point.
So
really good.
One thing that I noticed that they did here is they didn't really use their upgraded suits as much in this episode.
No, but because it's a big, especially because this is the 30s, and a lot of you know, these are literally the hero suits.
Yeah.
Okay,
Your
so this is
base form is like your
normal.
hero suits. Yeah, it's kind of on formula. Yeah.
Yeah, the kind of nice thing about this episode, because of that, it's like this is basically a case where it's like it's kind of back to basics.
Yeah.
You know, like everyone's kind of back into their regular standard mode. Hell, even the bike comes back because the show is a Kamen Rider show, and he should be riding his motorcycle all the time.
Please tell me how you really feel.
Because you forget sometimes that your rider has to ride a motorcycle. That's why he's called Kamen Rider.
But
Ghost.
I like
the ghost who forgot he had a bike after 2 Fs.
I like the base suits. I mean, freaking just Sento suit is just I don't know, the color scheme's perfect.
Yeah, it really is. And Seiji Takawa, who again is like he's the suit actor, that's why he's called Mr. Kamen Rider. And you really know him by how he does his hands.
Yeah,
you can tell by his hands. It's very dynamic. And so he's really good. And again, and like it's a good thing it's a good phrase to use.
He's got the bike.
Yeah, going back to basics, and it also goes back to the very beginning of the episode, where Itsuruga, it's all like, this is where the real battle begins.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna go to real battle, you start with base form because you don't know when you're gonna need like ultra mega form later on.
Right.
So.
No, exactly. Actually, what's also kind of nice about this episode, it kind of also pays off a thing that happened in the previous episode with Sento and the Prime Minister.
Oh yeah. Can I borrow $1?
Yes. You want to explain that?
That was so good. Oh my god, this was so good. I'm a poli-sci major, so all this like little, or used to be a poli-sci major and history major, so all like the little things that you have to do so that you're seen politically one way, but you're really trying to get to something another way is kind of fantastic. So the idea is that like Sento, like we've said earlier, is like they're officially sanctioned by the government. So by the Toko government. So anything that they do is under that umbrella. So if they do even go in to save their friends in Hokuto, that's you're crossing you're crossing borders of another country. So
they have diplomatic immunity.
Yeah. But by doing so, it's also an act of war because that is I forgot the term for it.
Which is something you want to avoid now.
Yeah, exactly. And so you don't want to escalate that, and that's the macrocosm of this. So by Sento just going, hey, can I borrow $1, or just can I have $1? That's all I'm gonna need. By stealing that, it's an act of treason. And it's like, because he's stealing from the prime minister. It's like if you steal something from the president, that's a federal crime.
Right.
Like period. I don't care if it's like.
Why did they say he was stealing it?
Because he basically took $1 from the president, but it's one of those, the public doesn't know that he just like, can I borrow $1?
Yeah.
And he doesn't even say, can I borrow $1? It's like, can I have one?
Yeah.
And so even though it was freely given behind the scenes, it was enough for Sento to go, I took $1 from the prime minister. I'm officially fired. I've committed treason. This is a federal crime. I could do whatever I want, which means I'm going to go save my friends, and it's not going to be an act of war.
Right. Yeah. That's another thing I love about this, too, is it goes back to the heart of what they've always been saying about Build, is Build goes back to classic Kamen Rider.
Yeah.
Kamen Rider's a rebel.
Yeah.
So seeing them in this position is kind of weird, where they're being regulated by like
exactly. And I like too that even like the prime minister of Tokyo got it. It's like, I know what you're doing. And I also don't want you to sacrifice your life, so I'm going to send your Kamen Rider friends to go after you. But it's not an act of war. It's just like I said, if we send cops to go bring back someone who is run away from the United States, we're not invading that country. We're just bringing back someone who committed a crime and bringing them back. That's not an act of war. Wink.
This brings me back. I think it's Johnny. This brings me back. This show reminds me a lot of when they introduced The Rock into the Fast and Furious franchise.
Yeah, exactly.
I could
totally.
Where he goes in there with a goal, but then it turns around and he has to kind of take matters into his own hands.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and what I really liked too was like the way it got announced. Like even his own friends didn't realize. And even that comedic timing of just like Kazumi just getting a haircut, just going, "What the heck?"
Yeah.
And running in with like his
haircut cloth, and then like we're
and
like
Bancho and Mita.
In the middle of
just like eating ramen. And it's like, you guys have had that position. Like I'm sitting here, like I get an email from my mom, and I'm like mid eating. I'm like, out noodles and pick down.
I mean, that's been happening lately with what's going on in the news. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, exactly. Just mid thing.
Probably read that comment from.
Is it safe to say that Build is Toei's way of saying they didn't want another war? That's fair.
That is.
And I will say something I really like about Build. Like for some a Kamen Rider series to be called Kamen Rider Build, and you're literally building things and build and build and build and build and blah. His whole goal is to break down walls.
Yeah.
What? The whole point.
That's actually a very good point.
Of
Daniel,
the
where you
series.
finding? Well, like, how do you even you just Google and you find it, the actual scene, or are you like skimming through the video?
I mean, it's a really good.
It's a really good comedy.
It's a really good job. And so the whole point of Build for a series called Build, the whole end game is to break down Pandora's wall,
right?
Or Sky Wall.
Yeah. And boom. Mic drop.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Paula. No, but it does. And that's also the thing too. That also brings another element I liked about Sento, in which that Sento keeps doing the whole he tries to do the front of like, well, you guys are stealing my thunder.
Yeah.
You guys are taking my hero thunder. It's like, which at the end of the day is like he doesn't really care that much.
He really doesn't, but I like that about him.
Yeah.
And again, it humanizes humanizes himself, and it brings back that, like, this isn't his two past incarnations of who he was. He's not the demon scientist.
Right.
He's just Sento, who, incidentally is supposed to be, I'm an egotistic guy who's a complete genius. But he cares about his friends, and that's great.
Yes.
I liked it. The very end where Grease and Banjo come to join him. Yeah, it's very nice. I like.
Well, we see the camaraderie, and we see what kind of relationship they all have with each other, and it's like down to like the smacking in Sento's head, going like that's for being an idiot. That's for making this hit is because Misora is crying over your dumb action.
Yeah.
So she's really upset. That's for her. So all this is going on. Also, there's some weird things going on in terms of Banjo. Because
so in the Revelation,
why did we sleep on that?
Yeah,
they sent Sawa to investigate it
because Vernage, Queen of Mars, is looking at Banjo, going, "Do you know who you are?
Like, don't you know who you are?
Don't you know?" And I love that Banjo's like, "I'm Banjo Ryuga. That's who I am." It's like, you freaking dolt.
I love him.
I like Banjo he's like my favorite. Like Sento's the main character of Banjo.
I love Banjo too. So Sento's like asking Sawa, like, go and figure out like who he is, and
Vernage actually called out. It's like the person responsible for the destruction of Mars is this being called Evolt.
Yeah.
So there's part of me that's like, and then she looks at Banjo. It's like, okay, if you don't know who you are, you're going to be Hope. Wizard fans are laughing. I don't like Wizard, and I'm still laughing. But just as a side note, if you go to my Twitter, I shouted out a really great artist who does a lot of Kamen Rider mini comics, and he's doing Build now. And the one that's like all three, Grease, Cross Z, and Build are like looking at Pandora's box, like, finally we find out where Pandora, like what's left in Pandora's box. They open it, it's Wizard going, Hope, and they just go, nope. And so I'm just thinking, like, looking at Vernage, looking at Banjo, going, "You will be Hope." I'm like, where's my wizard? Excuse me. To find out where it is.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, so like the theory now, it's like, is Banjo Evolt? Is Stock Evolt?
Yeah.
What? Who? What? And the final revelation with Sawa at the end of it
is pointing out that Banjo is may not be human.
May not.
Keywords.
May.
Yeah.
Maybe he's possessed as well. Maybe it hasn't awakened yet.
Because he does point out that he has a little vagueness of his childhood and some of his elements of his backstory.
His parents died.
The scene where like, oh well, let's learn more about you, and then they go back.
The callback to his backstory, in which Sento's like, again, we don't need the whole thing.
I just want to know who your parents are.
Which I arguably, now that they did this twice, if you do it a third time, maybe they might do this joke a third time, which Sento's like, I will listen this time. What's the whole thing?
Maybe there is something in the beginning.
Yeah, which I really like when you're like, I'm definitely gonna just use back to basics because that's what they really went. Now that we're in this new, we're in the meaty juicy plots part.
Right.
They're gonna take it back. Yeah, see all the crumbs we left back here in episode 1. We're gonna bring it back
full circle.
Exactly, which I really
I like that picture of them.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
I love it so much. And that little like puppet and that camaraderie, and that allows that like these are my friends, these are people hanging out with. Again, with the new opening, Banjo also doesn't know how to hold letters. He holds like 2 of them upside down in the opening for Cafe Nazca, and I'm all like, oh, Banjo, my sweet baby boy.
That should be a shirt too.
You sweet man.
Oh, Banjo.
Oh boy. But I will say that like when he talks about I don't have that many memories, like my parents died was a big trauma for me. Like I relate to that a lot for myself because I got a really bad hand injury when I was like 10, 12 years old.
Oh, wow.
You know those bungee cords that you, like with the hooks at the end, the really hard plastic hooks?
Yeah.
So as a kid, I was really smart and we stretched it as far as possible.
Oh, no.
And you know, my mom like goes in and just goes, "Hey Paula, it's time to eat, it's time to go." And I just went, "Okay, could you let it go? I'll catch it." And so I caught it with my face. And basically what I was told that I was unconscious for a while. It was, I think, unconscious for 2 days.
Holy crap.
The outer layer of my eye was ripped off.
Oh. Really?
I have no idea. I think I woke up like 2 or 3 times.
Was there a lot of blood?
I don't know. I don't remember any of it. I just remember waking up in my parents' bed. I remember waking up in a car. I think I remember thinking like, why are my family members trying to talk to me? I just want to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Oh my.
And then I remember waking up in a hospital. That was like a day later, 2 days later.
Holy crap.
That was about like over 20 years ago. And I have chronic pain. I have chronic migraine. And it wasn't until like now when I was taking a first aid class going, yeah, repeated concussions and traumatic head injuries last and basically rewire your brain. And I'm like, okay, how much of like my memory gaps has been because I'm just lazy, or how much of it has been like I've had a traumatic head injury? So when I'm thinking about Banjo talking about how my parents died in an accident, was Banjo in that accident?
Yeah.
So there's 2 ways that I really love being able to go with this. Was Banjo in that accident to a point where that's why he has gaps in his memories? Shout out to traumatic head injury in childhood. Or was that the story that got fed to him? So that's really, I'm like, I want to know. And it makes me relate to Banjo even more. And I'm
so
like,
how many more episodes do you think we have left?
Well, we're in 30 now, so we have 20 more.
20 more.
So I think the next 10 will be figuring out who's who.
Yeah.
And then the last 10 will be like just wrapping up everything.
Yeah, agreed.
To be honest, I like this show a little bit more than I like this, but this is just getting started.
Like I said, that's kind of like the nature of the beast when it comes to superhero time. Yeah. I will say after watching it for a while now, I think almost a decade now. There's some years you are lucky to get back to back good years of both Sentai and Kamen Rider. I think the last time that happened.
You're saying like both of them are good at the same time?
Yeah. And like at the same pace.
Right. No, that's the kind of interesting gamble you do.
Like Shinkenger and what was this?
Was it Decade?
No. Oh yeah, Decade. It was Decade. So maybe not Decade. But
Shinkenger. Well, okay. Like for me, it's like there was a brief period where like Gokaiger and Forze were on at the same time.
Those were really good.
And those are like my 2 favorite shows.
Yeah.
So like my brain's
and
like,
you get that overlap.
Yeah.
So it's nice being able to see where the pattern's getting revved up for Lupin versus Patranger.
They technically,
and where things are wrapping up.
They technically had a overlap where Kamen Rider Build was playing the same time as Kyuranger was playing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So they had that overlap. Which is nice. And I would say even that overlap when you're wrapping up Kyuranger, so that's like the super meaty part of Kyuranger, and then the way that Build opened was really just also very juicy.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term, was like really good.
Very good first episode.
Yeah. There were very few, like Go Busters had a really great first episode. Build had a really good one.
Watch it.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things to be able to unpack. So this was a good weekend.
So now, so now we gotta figure out who is who.
Yeah. So in the next 10 episodes, we'll probably figure out who's who.
Exactly, and then figure out maybe further on what's going on with Banjo and his backstory, etc. Also, looks like we're getting a new form. We're getting a new writer form for Banjo. So
give Grease his upgrade.
Wait, did they show it?
They did. They did.
Is it in the
previews?
Yeah. Usually, I don't know why, but I don't like watching previews.
Oh, no.
I mean, that's fair.
It's totally fair. My brain just lets it roll still. I'm like, whatever. Okay, so that's Let's build. I want to jump into some comments from the previous episode.
I'm gonna tackle this first one.
Go for it.
And so, like, Heisei Generations will be out on Blu-ray in May. That is correct. And so the fan subbing community might pick that up, and so on and so forth. Thank you, Uke Senpai, for that. For female fans, there is he mentions that the Heisei Kamen Rider shows, a lot of the producers have been like, hey, let's hire some young boys to entice those moms watching it with those kids. And a producer did jokingly say that, but let's be fair. Like, they're not actively looking for like hot guys. But I appreciate it. I never thought in my life that I would find Kazumin's actor to be attractive in a haircut thing, but the fact that like he was running in and he's just like out of breath, just going, yeah, I need to like fight be there for my friends, and I'm like, I don't. Why am I feeling these things?
Oh, that looks dope.
But yeah,
But no, because you brought up the fact that like, because I haven't finished Kiva, but so you brought this Kiva baggage with you.
Yeah, I do.
And so that's why I remember you were like, I hate that I like him.
I do. I really hate that I like him. And what you're seeing now is, or had seen, was the preview version of Cross Z.
It's
Cross
hot,
Z.
literally. And that's funny because I remember
because it's lava. You get the joke.
That's the joke.
And he's a dragon.
Oh. Nice.
Away.
I kind of want to jump. When I think of like this is for the housewives joke, I want to point something out. Like when I think of that, I think of the episode of Kyuranger, Kyuranger, where the Red Ranger rips his shirt off to reveal.
How many times? How many times though in Kyuranger? In Kyuranger, like Kyuranger, some Super Sentais are super focused on the Red Ranger. Some years are like that. Kyuranger was one of those.
Yeah.
And arguably we're getting that with Lupin versus Pat because it's basically about the two Red Rangers, which is kind of amazing.
Yeah.
Similarly with Q Ranger.
Because
it was all about.
Because it was about Lucky and Tsurugi.
Yeah. And so it was kind of funny being able to see those focus. But I saw that. Thank you, Japanese Twitter, for this, and I appreciate my female fans on Japanese Twitter. Somebody pulled out all the episode where Tsurugi from Q Ranger was shirtless in a list, and I was so happy and thankful.
all that fun stuff, all those fun videos and all that, we just send it over to me. We'll put it.
Oh my God, yes.
Because like
we'll make some Twitter moments.
Yeah.
Anytime I have one already.
Anytime I see those bits, I'm like, that's for a certain audience, not specific for the kids. Enjoy.
I'm gonna put together for Lupinranger VS Patranger. I'm gonna put together all of the times that they had someone put in that position where they put in the air.
Oh, please do.
We got 2 episodes.
We're 2 episodes down.
If it's more than 5, please put that on the show.
Yeah, because we got a lot of shirtless Tsurugi, and I appreciate that.
I'm gonna read the next comment from Kevin Duyan. Right? Okay. Random thought. The Lupin Rangers and Pat Rangers is somewhat a representation of 2 generations of Super Sentai.
Oh, this one's a good one.
With their clashing ideas. The Lupins hold the ideas of the late 90s current Super Sentai. Ideas include deep characterization, focus on series-wide plots, initial distrust upon team information.
Excuse you.
I'm so sorry. I don't know where my brain went on that.
Your patriarchy is showing.
I am really sorry. Please shut me down. I gotta stay woke. Anti-hero attitudes, thematic dissonance, colorful rangers, and a dark series, and a gray view on concepts like peace and justice, air quotes. On the other hand, the Pat Rangers stay true to the ideas of early Super Sentai, mid-70s, early 80s, pre-Power Rangers. Ideas include light characterization, focus on the plot of the day, willful heroism, light and campy themes, strong emphasis on teamwork, and a black and white view on the concepts of peace and justice. That's a freaking great read.
That's a great comment.
Yeah.
Kevin D. That is a great comment. You got a
those
gold
are choice
star.
words.
I never
you got
thought
a gold
those
star.
are choice words.
I never thought that, but that's on point.
To be contrarian just a little bit, like there was a lot of characterization back and forth because there's early Sentai was definitely it depended on the series that you were getting, so but definitely in the like they were more focused on the plot of the day and the black and white concepts of like peace and justice. Those are really definitely get those.
Like I would say that with the whole like him bringing up the earlier Super Sentai half. Like you're right.
Yeah.
Like I'm with you. Like that's a broad overview, the broad statement of that. Because you have Yo shows like Live Man and Jetman.
God, yeah.
Yeah, those have like extremely good characterization.
Like there's part of me that always likes to argue like are they just the standout ones or is that?
I think they're the exception.
I think they're the exception.
Yeah, because when you look at like
especially Jetman.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, we could talk.
Sorry. No. We gotta probably read out the comments. But yes, but I think Kevin, that's a
really good read. Good job. It's a really good one.
Yeah, I'm into it.
And it's nice being able to see those comparisons. And again, when you think, I was thinking of Fukuzawa and his work, it makes you think that because you see it in the action as well.
Oh yeah.
You see it in the action as well, especially with the emphasis on teamwork, about how, like you said, like they really, they found a way to shoot it,
right?
And they just rolled with it, and it just got better and better. And then as it got newer, the folks who used to be in those suits which are now directing and producing rather than being in the suits themselves, and all these like kind of new blood actors, suit actors are coming in. They're doing a lot more dynamic stuff, more focused on like the character of like the characterization in the fights and how the fights basically translate to what's going on in the plot.
Right.
And just
good.
It's awesome.
Choice.
Ryan Earl Wizard Rider Thomas says, great Henshin hangout, guys. Paula and Jezzer and Justin and Johnny. That was a lot. I'm glad to have...
I'm with the J Crew, so
Well, I'll just say Paula and the J Crew.
Dude.
Kamen Rider J.
How about oh my God. Paula G and the J Crew? Or
ooh.
Paula. We gotta figure out something.
Yeah, we're gonna come up with our new...
That's a good band name.
We'll be a good idol team. We'll be a good idol team.
I'm glad to have you guys in my life and enjoy the episode of Lupinranger VS Patranger. And I'm still caught up on Kamen Rider Build still, and give episode 8 Lupinranger Patranger, and have you guys watch Kamen Rider versus Super Sentai movie before I have. It's great. Ryan Earl Thomas, your friend from the other world.
Hey.
Awesome. Well, we're great. We're happy to have you in our life as well.
Yes. Yeah, totally.
Because I always see you in the chat, so I always appreciate that.
Yeah.
So Layla Nolan, what's up,
hey,
girl?
you're in the chat.
So Bill gets an easy 5 out of 5 because the opening alone was like literally holy.
Yep.
I get you. I'm the same. Like I love when new openings just here's some plot.
They jumped right in there. Like,
yeah.
Wait, what was going on?
Yeah. That cold opens are. Sometimes it's overused. Sometimes when it's used well, it's used well. Yeah. Lupin versus Pat gets 3 out of 5 because it was an okay episode. Like, that's fair. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's still in the beginning. I will say Green Pot had me dying because he really loves Lupin Yellow.
I like it.
I have like slight feelings just because it's like kind of on unwise. It's like, dude, come on, I'm giving you signals. I don't like this. Like,
no, and that's...
Give me some space.
No, I think he's breaking her down.
He's breaking her down. That's not something you want.
No, and I mostly because I love it for Boom because reaction every time where he's like, oh, it's hi. Great.
Hi. Here's also a quick tip: if you're watching Build and Sentai, watch Build first. That show is so good. It's literally draining. So if you watch Sentai, like high energy back and you lost your Build, like that's fair.
I think that's a good. I've done that too. I've done
that's
that
fair.
When I watched like Attack on Titan for the first time. I immediately.
Oh, that's not.
I asked a friend like, can you recommend me like a really light anime to watch? Because I just saw someone get chewed up in their mouth.
It's like vor.
And it's like, that's episode 3. So do you have something that I could watch where I'm not emotionally drained? And he did. It was a good, it was like an upper and a downer. So I needed that.
Somebody was like, one of my Team Token folks was just like, yeah, I was watching Build and I was watching Westworld. I'm like, dude, it's like 1 a.m. She needs to go to sleep. And it's like, well, I just watched Westworld. I'm all like, to calm me down. I'm like, that's not a show to watch.
Westworld's your calming you down show?
And he's all like, yeah, you're telling me. I watched the first episode going, I gotta watch some Haikyuu.
Fix up with IQ.
Or like some like Yuri on Ice stuff. Like
that would be a perfect counter.
To be fair though, but there's some like episodes of Yuri on Ice that's like too close to the fields of just like how to like find yourself again after a big lose. So I'm just like, maybe IQ.
The show that my friend recommended me to watch to be my like cheery upper anime show, Girls in Panzers.
Oh man, really?
He said like that's a light show that you don't have to worry about. And I'm like, okay, I gave it a shot.
Mine was New Game.
I don't know that one.
New Game is I've been watching a lot of Slice of Life, so yeah.
If you have Crunchyroll, you can find that.
Oh yeah, and if you do follow me on Twitter, I do have a premium account that if you guys want to try a Crunchyroll, because we might get a new Ultraman soon.
What? My favorite was Tiga.
Tiga?
Because that's what was on TV when I lived in Japan.
It's yeah, it's on Crunchy now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Tiga's an important show
if you want to
too.
check out any of like Crunchyroll has gotten a lot of like really great Ultraman. So if you want a taste of a different kind of tokusatsu, that's more than just Sentai and Kamen
You know what we
Rider.
need? You know how Netflix gets all the cool like Bandai Saban stuff? We need Superhuman Samurai on Netflix.
We're getting a Gridman anime.
Yeah, that's true.
That super calls out to Superhuman Samurai.
Gridman is on the TokuNet, on the Toku channel on the Amazon Prime listing.
Toku channel.
So I'm looking. I just signed up for that, and I'm going to try that out soon. I just started also watching Ultraman Nexus, so I'm curious.
So there's a lot of
like
places that you can go and support current tokusatsu, because a lot of what we talked about, especially with shows that we talk about here at for Kamen Rider and Super Sentai, those can't get full legal streaming unless you start supporting all the other ones as well, which is just as good, so that they can argue, hey, all our numbers for Ultraman and Crunchyroll is up.
Yeah.
We can argue for getting, that's the reason why we have Shout Factory DVDs out, because you asked for it.
So if you guys want it to continue, you guys gotta buy it.
Yeah, support it. You really have to support it.
They just announced Mirai Sentai Time Ranger, and I'm super
so
stoked.
excited.
I'm like, that's the one I really was waiting for.
Time Ranger.
I got one more. We got one more comment, and we'll wrap up. It's from Bhumika Mitra. Hi.
Bhumika.
You've always been commenting on our stuff.
So great.
Hey guys. Hey guys. Sorry. Heisei Generation's final movie is in continuation between episode
14 and 15.
Yes. That's why Build recognizes the gear suits, which is debuted. This is for you and Johnny.
Yeah.
In which debuted in episode 23 or 24. I don't think the subs have moved. They're not. If you find out, please share it. Please. I dropped out Lupinranger versus Patranger on episode 3 and hoping to catch back after it airs, after episode 10 airs. I just finished Forze, and it's been a really good series. That's my re-entry point into Tokyo. So I wouldn't be here if I didn't actually watch Forze. No joke.
I like your next one because it might not be too dark, but it's good for what it is. One thing about Forze you should know, that it came out during the 2011 major earthquake and tsunami, and so there was a lot of Saito, something like that. And so it was a lot of big natural disasters, and there was a lot of displaced children because of those big natural disasters. So the producers for Forze intentionally made Forze to be, you're going to help out your friends. It's all about friendship. It's all about hope. It's all about looking forward. That's the reason why it's so lighthearted by comparison to other Kamen Riders.
It's also the reason why, that's why Gokaiger got so much, got better after that, weirdly enough, because all those Sentai actors wanted to make the kids happy. That's why we're we want to be in this show that's a celebration of the franchise.
The franchise and our teamwork, and we're friends. And not to say that I know Build is getting really dark and really intense, and that's something for us adults, it's really, really great.
Yeah.
And as much as I give X-Aid all the slack it deserves, there are a lot of children who were sick, who were terminally ill, who watched X-Aid because it was a doctor-themed, game-themed show, who kept talking about how they were cheered up seeing doctors be heroes. Yeah. And so they were able to hang in there, and they're terminally ill children. So, for people who are I just want dark themes and adult themes in my Kamen Rider, I'm all hey, remember who's this for?
I got these toys, but I know these are for 5.
Yeah, exactly. These are not meant for adult.
I'll finish up her.
I'll
finish up her comment. My favorite characters are both the writers Gentaro and Ryusei. All my favorite themes are their space, high school, and friendship. This is your show.
Yeah, it's my show too. Yeah,
this series will always be special to me because it's the first Rider series I've completed. Same, yeah. Good. And it's because I'm joining high school in a near 2 months. Ah, nice.
Be friends with everyone.
That's the goal.
Yes.
Okay, so bye guys, love from India. Yay. So thank you. That's a cool. I'm glad. I'm loving
Bhumika.
I love when people discover Forze.
So yeah, Forze is a lot. So Forze, Guy, and Bill, those are
I get super excited every time I see that thing.
It's good.
Okay.
So, I really hate that it took me a while. I'm oh yeah, lava because dragon.
All right, we have to wrap up. So
Jezzer, where can we find you?
Yes.
All social media at Jezzer Zeus. I forgot what I was going to say. Jezzer Zeus. Also, me and Joe are going to be on After Dark around 6:30. So you guys tune in.
You can find me there. Justin Quiz is my Instagram account. Justin Quizon on my Twitter account. Yeah, I gonna pitch my 2 podcasts really quick.
Follow him on Instagram. His Instagram stories are pretty fun.
Oh, thank you.
Really
So yeah, you're gonna also find me on my podcast, Benview and Spielberg, a monthly Spielberg podcast that I do. We just reviewed Ready Player One, and I definitely talk about my disappointment, and I know why Ultraman's not in the movie. I just still wish he was.
There's a whole podcast I could talk about the legal battles with Ultraman. The reason why he's not in the movie.
I know, and it's fascinating when you get to it. And then this month there'll be a new episode for my podcast about remakes, but nothing new, where we will talk about the Death Wish remake. And
There's a Death Wish remake.
With Bruce Willis?
That's the one.
I want to see it.
Don't. Also, hey, again, since you're here, because you like Tokusatsu Heroes and Henshin Heroes, guess what? I co-created one with my buddy Victor Perfecto. It's available for free on Tumblr called Shining Yuusha. It's for free!
Shining Yuusha?
You know, so
support your webcomics, y'all.
And it's if you really love this type of stuff, check out our comic. It's free. Check it out on Tumblr, Shining Yuusha. It's also available on Facebook and Twitter. Paula, back to you.
Thanks, Justin and Jezzer. And now for the weather. That dopant is running around everywhere. Kamen Rider double, guys. So you can find me on Twitter at Paula Gaetos. It's basically my name. It's not that hard. You could also, the reason why I'm here is because I am the founder of the Tokusatsu Network. You can find them at tokusatsunetwork.com. We also have a YouTube channel, the Tokunet. You can just look up Tokusatsu Network, where they're on YouTube. Don't do that.
No.
Tokusatsu. But the nice thing about that is we just launched, and it's been for about a month now, we launched a live news wrap-up show. So if you've been subscribed to Tokunet for a while, or even if you haven't, we had a weekly news roundup of all the major news, so including like the Mama Heroes news. And we now made that weekly episode live. So if you're here on Saturdays anyway joining us and you're really loving Tokusatsu, you really want to keep up with the latest news, head on over to the Tokusatsu Network on YouTube at 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. You're going to be here and joining us anyway, so why not get your news ahead of time?
This is from Squall, right?
Yeah. From Squall Charleston.
Shout out to you, dude.
Squall's doing the best. He's doing the most, and he's been amazing at it. You might even find me there, also talking about recent news. Awesome. So yeah, check them out. Shukan Tokunet Live at 1 o'clock every Saturday. And so there's at 1 o'clock. We'll be over by 2, and get your lunch and come back and join us here on Henshin Hangout at 3 p.m.
Just talk about Toku all day.
Yeah, seriously. Just make it your Saturday afternoon brunch. Nice. Saturday fun times.
This is like their version of Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah, exactly. Watch your Saturday morning cartoons live, unsubbed.
There's toy commercials like in Saturday morning cartoons.
Exactly. Check out the news of Tokusatsu Network, and then come join us here to talk more in
QVC thing, right? It's like, there we are.
If you call now, you get 2 for the price of 1.
Oh, we wish.
I know.
We wish. Bandai. Don't do this.
Make it easier. I don't have to keep asking my nephew to travel to Japan to get these for me.
All right, you guys. Well, thanks for watching Henshin Hangout. We will be back next week.
It'll be the boys.
It will be the boys. Are you back next week?
I might not actually.
Then it's gonna
It'll
be
still be the boys.
Me and Johnny.
It's still the boys.
It's
still good boys.
Yeah. It's 2
good boys.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, you guys, and make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe, and share
Heart
this.
Smash.
Yeah. And share this video out with as many of your friends that love Super Sentai or Kamen Rider, because we love seeing new faces in the chat. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe to keep up to date with everything trending in geek pop culture.
Bye.